Katie Fawkes is my guest this week, and she is the marketing manager for Ecamm Live. What does that mean to you? Well, I've got a conversation with an industry insider that's working with video, working with audio, working with podcasts, helping promote them, but she has one herself, and she has an interesting journey about how she was like, I don't really want to do this. She did it anyways. Stay tuned. This week is Katie Fawkes, and I'm going to start right into the question with this, Katie. You made the hard left turn. You started in English literature and then went to director of marketing for a tech company, which to me, I don't see a straight line between that. But you assured me in some of the messaging beforehand that there is a straight line here. So draw the map for me, please.
I don't know if I can say there's a straight line, but there's definitely a line. You know, it is often funny. I feel like when I first was thinking about what I quote unquote wanted to do when I grew up, it was very much sit in a dark room with a red pen and edit people's books or be able to, slowly work on my own. I wanted to be like a novelist, a traditional kind of writer. And so that took me on a journey. It took me on this maybe not totally direct, but kind of bumpy journey into the world of writing and storytelling. I ended up in a job that was focused on copywriting. And at that time, obviously, websites and web companies and tech companies were becoming more and more a thing. So I ended up really enjoying being on the tech team as the writer and the storyteller. And that took me from copywriting into social media, into general marketing, and then really, really reluctantly over the past, I joined the Ecamm team about 7 years ago. And hilariously, the one thing that I swore to myself that I would never do was video. Every time in my career that someone held up a camera to me, I would literally be aggressively shaking. Every thought I had or had memorized would drop out of my head. I would end up just feeling like the worst, most unprofessional idiot at the end of the experience. And so when the job opened up at Ecamm, I really, really wanted to work for the company. I really believed in the mission that they stood for. And it was kind of a crazy challenge to me. It was like, you know what? I've been so afraid of this space for so long, but this is where storytelling is going, is in this very human, very relatable content that people are consuming more and more. So I threw myself not only into video, but into live streaming was the first project I took on at this company. And so it was a trial by fire. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And I feel so lucky to be surrounded by the people that have helped me throughout this process, because it's a scary place. It's an intimidating place, but it's just filled with such incredible stories and incredible people, and the experiences are awesome, and it's just getting more and more exciting as we move forward. So storytelling was the car that took me on my path from English literature all the way into video, but definitely a few stops, a few backing up, a few panic attacks along the way.
I've experienced those too. If you look at my career map, if you look at that map, people are like, is this driver drunk?
Pivot.
Right. A couple of spins, of everything like that. We're going to dive into your reluctancy on the camera first, but in a second here. But first, you work for Ecamm. Mm-hmm. Give me the short rundown of what Ecamm does and why you guys do it.
Absolutely. So Ecamm is a live streaming and video production tool for Mac, and it really empowers just about anyone with an idea to create incredible quality video across any medium. So you can live stream, you can multi-stream, you can record video in wide or vertical formats. And it also has a full integration with Zoom. So it allows you, if you're doing presentations and webinars, pitches to clients, to be able to really bring in all of those incredible graphics that traditionally you would have had to wait to add in post-production. You can actually do as you are presenting or as you're creating. So it makes the video process just so much easier for people like me who are like, I am not good at video, right? Like it feels intimidating. So, but now I can create video as easily as I can run through a keynote or a PowerPoint presentation. And that is really empowering. It gives me the feeling of creativity and possibility, which is exciting.
So it really is. It's about giving tools that are easily accessible. And I love that, because to me, there's so many things out there where people are like, this is intimidating. And when you realize in many cases, there's probably a tool for that, where it can be a point, click, and suddenly, ta-da, you've got something that looks really good without having to take 4 years of schooling, invest thousands of dollars in some other giant software platform, have a computer that's the size of a small data center,
Exactly.
all of those things.
Yeah, exactly. We grew up in like a world where broadcasting and video was like super gate kept, right? Like like, as you were saying, like you had to have a degree, a full team, millions of dollars, connections to a TV studio. Like the idea of like, I'm going to be a producer, I'm going to be a host of a show, or podcasting before podcasting, like all of these were gate kept, and now it's possible for anyone to do it for such a small amount of money, if any money. Like many of us can get started for free even with our phones, which is wild if you think about it, really. It
truly is. And I always joke that there's good things about this and there's bad things about this. The good piece is like everyone can have their voice.
Yeah.
The bad thing about that is that everyone can have their voice.
Exactly.
So we always encourage people to get out there and talk. You are, you talked about this, the proponent of video first. Podcast has been a traditional audio platform.
Yep.
We have our reasons for it. I always joke, like, you talk like, hey, this is a big breakthrough for you. For me, it just got to a point where I'm like, I have no dignity left. I'm more than happy to get on camera.
Everyone needs to reach that point.
Right.
No dignity left at all. Yeah.
Right. For me. So why would you tell people, like, look, you need to be video first and have the podcast come out of it, instead of doing a podcast and, well, if there's some video to it, great?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it comes down to where we are sitting right now in spin, space, and time, and the potential. So if you were coming at this and you wanted to get into podcasting and it was early days, it's great. Go into audio only. You're probably not going to need a ton of video, but if you're starting right now, you're going to need video at some point or another, whether, like, whatever it is that you are doing in this space. And it is the hardest, biggest, kind of most overwhelming piece of the content tool, right? So
it is.
So if you start with video and you get really good at that, all of the other pieces come from that initial video. Your audio can be stripped out and used from that video. The clips that you're going to need for promo and for marketing can be pulled out from that video. You can use the transcript to do things like craft emails, blog posts. All of those incredible AI tools that exist out there right now can do a lot once they have that video and that transcript. So it's the biggest, hardest part, but once you conquer it, it really sets you up with a really seamless content strategy. So I would say, even though it is the biggest step, everything else is a slide downwards after that. So if you can climb to the top of that mountain and get really used to being up there for a bit, like, I promise everything is so much easier, and it's not going anywhere. Like, if you look at where the landscape is right now, players like YouTube, the numbers are staggering. The amount of people that are now consuming non-traditional, not like non-TV media on YouTube on their TVs at home is wild. So that means, like, again, you can be your own broadcaster. You can be your own broadcast network. You can create content that people are consuming in all different kinds of ways in the places that they're spending time, whether that's on their TV, on their device, on their computer, when they should be working, grabbing that phone and heading out for a run and changing over to audio. Like, you're giving them the ability to choose how they want to consume your content, and you're creating it in a way where you're able to be in all of the places where your listeners and your viewers are and spend their time.
Yeah, I love that, because it is that ability to get people where they are, meet your audience where they are. It really comes down to that. With that, a lot of people think it is a complex thing, and you preach the clarity over complexity. I see, like, as soon as we got on, I saw your setup. And by the way, I love the purple microphone. That is amazing.
I'm as busy and crazy as possible. If you're listening to this, I am like red sweater, purple microphone, mushroom background, like weird things behind me. So
Yes.
but maybe not clarity of visuals.
But in the same sense, it is simple because you've got a camera in front of you, you've got a microphone in front of you, you've picked a background. I mean, like a lot of people, they walk into our studios. I've got 3 Blackmagic cameras pointed at me. I'm staring at a 45-inch television. Yes, just so you know, you are that big currently. You're right. I've got the computer in front of me. There's a screen up here. I mean, there's all these complex pieces. But you talk about that clarity over complexity. What are the 2 or 3 pieces that people need to start?
I mean, honestly, all you really need is your phone to start. Like if you have a good idea, you can really start by just getting comfortable recording yourself on your phone. Honestly, like if you don't want to look at yourself quite yet and that's scary for you, start by just doing audio recordings, but get into the habit of consistently getting your ideas out verbally, into a recorded, captured moment or experience. From there, once you've gotten really comfortable there and you're ready to jump in and take it a little bit more seriously, then really, like, again, all you're going to need is a camera. And these days, like the webcam that I'm on is $129. It's about this big. It is 4K and it is incredible. So like the tech has gotten way simpler and way more affordable. It plugs in by USB-C right into my laptop. And the microphone that I have, slightly more expensive. This is actually, at this point, I think a couple of years older. But I love the color, so I'm like, it still works, so it's great. But that also plugs in by USB right into my computer, and then some kind of recording software. So obviously, I work for Ecamm. I'm a big fan of Ecamm. But any recording software that you need to be able to capture it and allow you to do things like, add in your logo, maybe a theme song, a couple of different elements to kind of take that up a notch. What I really learned over the last 7 years of being in this space and being on camera is that what gets people worried and frustrated is the amount of gear. Like you get into this space where you feel like you need to check all the boxes before you can get started. You're like, okay, well, before I can podcast, I need to like buy a camera. I need to have a new computer. I need to have and it's a fun space to be in, right? Because you're like shopping trip, like you feel like you're checking the boxes, right? But then they sit down and there's so much stuff and it's overwhelming and they don't know how to use it. And when something goes wrong, it derails everything. So I've actually simplified down everything. I have access to a really similar setup to that you were just speaking of. Like literally down the street is our office. It has a full studio. It has every conceivable piece of tech. So here at home, I have my tiny $129 webcam, my laptop, and my microphone, because if any of these things go wrong, I know how to fix them. They're very, very easy for me to unplug, carry with me when I go,
and restart.
Right? Like it's not.
It's always restart.
Exactly. Simplifying the entire space and simplifying the process made me more consistent, and the more consistent that I was with the content, the better that I got at the content. And really, it's you and your personality and the story that you're telling that's way more important than the software and the gear and all of the different pieces that are allowing you to do what you do. So having a simpler setup, at least for when you're just starting, but honestly, like even long term, is a really smart way to go, because it'll allow you to not be so focused on the tech, to be focused on what you're trying to actually convey to your people on the other side, right?
And it's funny, I totally get that, just because of the fact that and it's the reason why, like, I love having the studio, because we're the producer people. We take care of the gear and the tech and all those other things. So you can just come in, sit down and have your conversation and know that you're going to walk out with something high quality. If you keep it simple, you know you're going to walk out with something high quality, even if it's just you sitting there with your mushroom collage in the background, wearing your Fawkes sweatshirt, Fawkes sweater, which I absolutely, like I said this before, I do love that. Those things are adorable.
Thank you.
That being said, you are a marketing person.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
We all tend to like congregate for some reason. You talk about like marketing is it's about building trust in so many different ways. Have you seen tangible examples of that through marketing Ecamm?
Oh my gosh. Ecamm has been such an interesting and wonderful ride because throughout my career, and I think maybe a lot of this comes from having a background in social media marketing and kind of coming into that space at a time where things like Facebook groups were being created and the conversation was moving more into this idea of community and connection and these tools being able to bring people together from across the world. That marketing for Ecamm has been this really community-based effort where the people that are using it, that we affectionately call the Ecamm fam, are so passionate and incredibly creative, and they give back that the stories that come from the community and all of the different ways that people are using video to grow their businesses, to reach their customers, to connect with people, to play, to everything in between. And obviously, at a time where we are on the other side of a global pandemic and people were so separated, that almost the marketing has been like, I don't want to say easier, but we've been forced into this world of storytelling and of community and of relying on each other. And it's just been a really fun experience from start to finish, because when you have a really great product and you have people who are seeing such success, that the stories really just almost tell themselves. Like, it's my job really is to be able to empower those people to be their best selves, and then to be able to really share their stories with the world. And so it's been really fun. It's very different than kind of the more quote unquote traditional marketing I've done in the past, right? Where it's like, I'm never at a loss for content. I'm never at a loss for video content. And I'm never at a loss for people sending over like incredible testimonials and their what their experiences are like, or what their feedback is with the tool, or what they're doing. It's a really interesting space to be in, and such a pleasure to kind of be, I don't know, sitting in the place that I'm in. I working in podcasting, for me, like the stories, the people, it's all everything that you said there totally resonates with me too. It's just it's such a neat space to be in. Yeah. When you said, I want to go back to touch on something that you said just a few seconds ago. You're never at a loss for video content. Never. Almost too much video content, to be honest.
I was just about to say, with what you guys do, I mean, you guys are a video platform. So, okay. Yeah, I get that. How much of a key do you see like video as we move into the future in terms of that making that connection with people?
Oh my gosh. I am so excited. I'm at a point now where we're at the end of the year. I am so excited for next year and for the potential that it holds, particularly in the live streaming space. So over the last, again, kind of 7-ish years that I've been in this space and been doing this, we've seen kind of like people initially being like, live streaming is something only a small amount of people do, to then the pandemic hit and it was like everyone needs to be on video and like live streaming to some extent. And then we kind of saw a bit of a drop off of that, where it was like, oh, well, now it's like we need to be podcasting, we need to be recording, we need to be batch recording, kind of all of that. But I feel like I've seen certainly in the last 6 months, maybe even in this last year, with the rise of all of these AI tools and kind of the lack of trust of a lot of the content that's being created these days, a real swing back to more raw, less perfect, more human content. And live streaming continues to hold such potential there because you are live in the moment, right? So you can actually engage and talk with the people who are joining you. When you're showing their comments on screen, people see that it is actually you, it's in the moment. So it almost has kind of becoming this really almost like a counterculture to the rise of the robots and to the rise of AI, where people have this opportunity to really build a very strong community with live streaming and live video being really central to their content plan. And so I think it's going to be really exciting to see what people do. I've been talking with a lot of like really high level creators on YouTube over the last couple of weeks, and all of them have said like over and over again that they're like, next year is all about live video for them. Next year is all about these like live experiences for their audiences. And so I think it's going to be really fun, and it's an interesting time. And again, to kind of circle back to the beginning of our conversation, super freeing for the everyday people because it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's actually better if it's not perfect because then it's real and it's not AI generated. And, in the moments where your cat walks across your keyboard or your kid runs in or a light goes out or every other conceivable thing that happens when you're live streaming, those are the moments that are going to make you more relatable and build trust and make it an interesting and fun experience for your viewers. So it's becoming a friendlier, safer, more inviting space. And I think helping to curb some of those fears that we all have as we're stepping into the live streaming or into the video world. So easier for all of us and hopefully more fun and more real and human, which I think we all need a lot more of.
I agree with that. It's funny. We often get asked on the editing side, they're like, are you going to take out all the ums, ahs, and pauses? And I'm like, nope. I'm like, people want to hear from you. Now, if you we may take that out. If there's one, two, if they're spread throughout sporadically a little bit, great, because now you are a human instead of some giant building with some buzzing machines inside of it halfway across the country.
Exactly.
You've talked about, you were very intentional initially about oversharing some. Like, hey, this is...
You're like, is there something you haven't shared? And I'm like, hard no.
You're right. Why do you feel like it's important to do that? I know it's that authenticity. Is that really it? Where you're like, look, this sucks. I screwed this up. Here it is. This is me. Is that why you overshare?
I overshare intentionally online, weirdly enough, in a professional space, because when I was first getting into all of this and I was first getting into live streaming, I was having these quiet moments with myself or with my close friends where I just felt dumb. I think my internal fears were well, you're the director of marketing at Ecamm. You should know more about video. You should be more confident on video. You need to be a leader in this space. But what I started noticing was those moments where I without even thinking, I was live and I was just like, oh, I can't believe I just said that. Or I had a moment where I let my guard down publicly. People within our community really, really responded to that. I started getting these emails and I started getting DMs in my inbox where people were like, hey, that actually meant a lot to me to see that someone that was in your position also had those fears and also had those moments where it wasn't going perfectly and you just worked yourself through it, or you sought help publicly and I learned from that, or that made a really big difference, or hearing what you thought about that really helped push me forward in what I was doing. And the more that I heard that, the more it just felt mean to not share those vulnerabilities and those moments, because they were having an impact on other people. And I've never wanted to be the person whose social feed is just so heavily curated that someone looks at that and is like, well, that's not a real person. Right. Or I'm drowning and that person is absolutely killing it. And what am I doing wrong that she's, having this incredible experience? I want people to be comfortable to talk with me about the challenges that they're having in video, because I want to help them through it. So I've tried to be you know what? I'm happy to look dumb for all of us. I'm happy to ask the stupid questions and have every conceivable thing go wrong publicly, so that if you're sitting there and you're worried about getting into video, you can look to someone and say, oh, well, Katie's done that and she seems to be fine. So we've worked our way through it, right?
Hey, Katie did that. We're good. Katie did that.
I've done it all. I promise you, I have done just about all of it. Publicly, embarrassingly.
Same. Yeah. No, I think now, you should probably get another sweater made that says Katie did it. It's
Katie
okay.
Did it. Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh,
Katie did it.
That would be a fun one. All right.
If you do that, I need one.
Okay, it's a deal.
If you do that, I need one. That being said, you've mentioned, you've talked a lot about YouTubers, stuff like that. 2026, a lot of them are talking live stream. A lot of them are talking that authenticity. What is it you see as 2026? Are those the big things, and what's some things that may lie straight underneath that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a swing back to real people, less influencers, less experts, less kind of super polished, curated professional, more real people doing real things, connecting with others and sharing their level of expertise. And I just think it's really exciting. And that's going to be, I think, honestly, across medium. Like, I think we're going to see what really has actually been very special about podcasting is like, you really feel like you are spending time with people. Like most of the podcasts I listen to, I'm like, those are my friends, even though they don't know who I am. Right. Like that vibe, I think, is going to carry forward into next year, where the potential is really big for everyone who wants to build in this space. If you can just be relatable, be present, be consistent, you are going to win, because I really think that people are sick of the really super curated, super polished, really fake looking and feeling content, whether or not that is AI generated or people generated trying to be more, polished. But I think it's going to be a forgiving year of us all being very human and being very bumpy together.
It's interesting you say that, because I've seen a lot of big YouTubers recently that, I mean, once again, they're doing these dramatic life things are happening to them. And I'm like,
yeah,
is this really, or this looks a little,
yeah, we're skeptical, right? Yeah.
Right. There's something about this that just, it looks off, where you're like, this looks set up. Right. That like this thing happens and your camera person just happened to be there.
Yeah, we're going to be much more skeptical, right? We're all much more skeptical of like, is this real, or is this something that has been, doctored or set up to look that way, right? Yeah. Like my kids, so I have two kids, 11 and 14, and their favorite thing now is like, well, that was really AI. That was super AI. Isn't that AI? Like that they're constantly like evaluating everything that they see around them as like, is this real? Should I believe this? Should I challenge this? So I think it's we're going to see kind of a pushback to that. And I'm also a big crafter. I'm huge into crochet and scrapbooking and a bunch of other kind of like tactile non-tech crafts as my non-tech outlet.
I never would have guessed that.
Right? I did not make this sweater, I will say. I'm not a good crafter, but I'm a crafter. But I've been also seeing like a big movement, I guess, for lack of a better word, of people who are unplugging, right? Like they're pausing from all of these different platforms, and they're trying to get back to what the internet is affectionately calling grandma hobbies, right? Like they're chicken keeping, they're gardening, they're like woodworking, they're doing all of these different things to kind of get away and from the noise and do something real and do something like tactile, do something with other people. So I think we'll see that in a number of different spaces and places. And I'm here for it. I think it's great.
And while they're doing those things, they can be listening to a podcast.
Exactly.
We knew we could bring this back. We could bring this right back around. The main question that I always love to ask of everyone, if you could give one piece of advice to a business owner or marketer who's thinking, hey, I want to get into this, why should I do it? Or what's going to be I guess I would say the anvil that's going to drop out of the sky on Wile E. Coyote? What's the one piece of advice that you would give to a business owner, marketer, someone that's considering starting something like a podcast?
Oh, just start. No, just kidding. We were joking about that earlier today, but I mean, honestly, the potential is so huge that you really are robbing yourself of an incredible opportunity and a lot of fun. There is so much happening in these spaces. I know I hate to say just start, but I feel like you need to find your space and your place and really dive deep into that, because I think it's cheaper than ever and easier than ever and more accessible than ever. So whatever that means to you, for me, I think it was last year, I started a VHS Club podcast with my best friend where we talk about 80s and 90s movies. And I was like, there's no goal to this past, like, I just want to spend time with my best friend having these conversations that are meaningful to me. And what's grown out of even that tiny, like literally just for fun show has been staggering and so fun to see. So I guess my answer is just start, but it is really on figuring out what it is that you're really passionate and excited about, and do some research to figure out how you can take that from an idea into a show, a live stream, whatever it is. But there's so much potential here that I would hate for for you to miss out on it.
Love that. Where can people find you? I know there's the live stream, there's the recorded podcast. Where can people go find you?
Well, I am on all of the Ecamm channels. So if you search ECAMM, you will find me on YouTube live streams. We have a really incredible community called the Ecamm fam that I mentioned. I'm in there all the time. Personally, I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, and I run my show. If you're into 80s and 90s movies, you can hang out with us. We live stream our show most Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. It's called the VHS Club Podcast. I think that's all my places and spaces.
Wonderful. Look, I really appreciate the time today. You have been a gold mine of great information for people to get them to start. Yes. Knock this off as a just stunning success. I really appreciate the time. And I will let you go here in a few seconds. For everyone else, I will be back with my summary of this. Katie, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Katie was a ton of fun to have on the show. I love it when there's these bright personalities like this and so knowledgeable. There's a couple of things that I want to break down from my talk with her that I thought were really, really important. She talked about like camera mic placement and how to keep it simple. If you're recording in like your home office, in your wherever, keep that simple. It's funny. As soon as she started talking about gear, I mean, in the studio here, gear is a big deal to us. We want to make sure that we've got the best gear for you when you come in the studio, but we're managing all that. There's a lot of buttons and knobs and wires and everything like that hanging out on the desk over there. There's a reason why I'm looking kind of off camera. I'm looking at the engineering desk going, holy cow. We put that together. That is a lot. And it is a lot, but we're managing all that to make sure that you get the highest quality recording. We're managing it. You don't have to worry about it. That is the piece in that. When she said, like literally, keep it simple. She's got a microphone. She's got a webcam. Those plug into her computer. She's done. And as you could see, she looked and sounded really good. We do the consult for a lot of people on the remote recordings to make sure that, yes, you can look and sound good. Notice her microphone is close. She had an ear monitor in. She had some light in front of her. She had the webcam there. It was positioned up by eye level. So there's these little things that we're always willing to help with. And that's why we do our 30-minute no-pitch podcast consult, is to help you with those setups. And especially if it's that super simple, really like if it's a super simple setup, it's really easy for you to get right. And it's really easy for you to get on a repeatable basis. The other reason why I love the fact that she was talking about keeping it simple, if you have to come in, like for me to come into the studio and to get ready to do a recording like this, I come in, there's lights over here, there's lights over there, there's 3 cameras that I'm turning on, there's a TV, there's 2 monitors, there's a computer, there's a soundboard. There is a lot of stuff to do. If you just have to make sure your webcam is not pointed up your nose and that the microphone's in the right spot, guess what? You're going to be much more likely to record. And that's why keeping that so simple is such a huge benefit. Keeping it simple just makes it so you can walk in, sit down, make sure you look good, and hit record. That's all you got to do. Super simple. I love the fact that she talked about that. The other thing that I loved is she is I would say we're another Gen X marketing manager. And she didn't want to be on camera initially. She's like, I hated the camera. She talked about how she would freeze up, lock up, and just didn't want to be on camera. Video, though, she is such a huge proponent of video now, though, because she realizes all of the great things that can come from that. The video is a huge part of what makes that flywheel. She talked about, like, you don't even have to be live. Going live is, it's an ask for some people because you realize, like, a few seconds ago I had a cough. We edited that out. You can't do that live. That's a tough thing to do, to realize that. But she went ahead and did that anyways, knowing that you're going to get that authenticity out of it, and you're going to get all those social media clips out of it. You're going to get the clips. You're going to get the social posts. You're going to get the thumbnails. You're going to get all of those great pieces out of it. Not to mention, you're going to get all those platforms out of it. You now have opened it up for YouTube. You now have opened it up for Facebook. You have now opened it up for Instagram. You have now TikTok. You have now, there's all these platforms where you can go out and find people. Additionally, video on LinkedIn still gets very, very good traction. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you're business to business. The biggest lesson that I love, it's so funny. Katie and I talked ahead of time about how we both hate the just start advice. But really, the funny thing about it is that is truly the best advice if you're just looking to get into it, is just start. If you're already into it, let's say you're well into your podcasting journey, look at things like the people that just start. It's a big step to get better, and that's what a lot of your improvements are going to be made right at first. If you're in your podcasting journey, don't just start, get better. Just start reviewing your episodes. I never used to listen to my episodes because I'd be like, I already know what I said. I've forced myself now to go back and listen to episodes. Been doing that for about a year now, to be like, look, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? How can I coach myself on this to make myself better? You're going to be amazed at how much better you can get when you listen to, and of course, especially if you can watch your own podcast. Big, big gains to be made. And those are free, except for that little bit of dignity that you're going to go ahead and miss. That being said, I know I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we do our 30-minute no-pitch podcast consultation. If you're starting, if you're recording at home, whatever it is, let us know. Reach out. You can do it through the website. You can do it through the link below. Either way, I would love to hear from you, because what's going to happen is I'm going to go out and I'm going to watch and or listen to a couple of episodes of your podcast. I'm going to get an idea of some areas that you can probably improve on. That's what we're going to talk about. Additionally, we're also going to look at whatever questions you have. If you've got podcasting questions, I would love to help answer those for you. Put it in the comments even if you want to. As always, do me a favor. Take care of yourself. If you can, take care of someone else too. I will see you very, very soon.